be the worst. Like if one of my daughters was like, hey, I want to do like some, like, yeah, I would be like, all right, well, let me see the contract. What are they having you do? Let me talk to the producers. What's their pit? I would bend over and gut that production so damn hard. They just wouldn't know what to do. Like the amount of times that like friends of mine have called me being like, I'm signing up for this show. I'm like, send me the paperwork. You know, it's what I mean, it's like I said, aside from like hosting shows, I've produced a ton of reality TV. So, I mean, there would be that side. The other side, I'd be like, all right, what are you hoping from this? What's the end goal? Is it to just do reality TV? Are you looking to get into some kind of other, you know, business as a result of this? Do you want to work in TV? Do you want to be a host? Like, my whole thing is though, it's like, you got to have some kind of, and I tell this to my daughters, like you have to have some kind of backup. If you want to work in TV or film or whatever, music, it's great, but be very good at something else as well.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
What do you think, because you produce so much reality TV, like of the Kardashians, like what it's, you know, you look at your show, like what it has become, like you said, producer emails, and I would agree with you.
Unfortunately, because of the way that finance works in television, there's less and less money. And so it really binds shows as far as what they can get away with and how much wiggle room they have. Like, you know, when you produce a show, you're writing beat sheets and scripts and story outlines and all this stuff, and you're submitting it to the network, and they have to approve that in order to fund it. So, but back when it was us, it was, like I said, we woke up, cameras were there, and whatever happened, happened. And that costs so much money to do that they just don't have that kind of finances anymore. So I do think that, you know, I love the genre of reality TV. You know, I think it's not going anywhere. You know, I remember when we did our show, everyone was like, it's just a fad. It's this, it's that. And I always joked that like, reality TV is the hip hop of TV. You know, it was something that when it came out, everyone was like, it's a fad. This is just going to disappear, whatever. Now it's, you know, hip hop's the most dominates music. And so reality TV dominates TV.
It does. And it's not going anywhere.
No.
Do you find now that there's a shift, you know, like to a certain generation, like, you know, me, like, I'm like, oh, that's Jack from the Osbournes. Of course I do watch, like your new show is phenomenal. But do you know, because you've been doing a lot of these like paranormal shows that have led you to discovery, like, do you find there's a whole new generation now that knows you in this genre?
I don't, you know, it's funny. I feel like my audience has kind of grown with me. I don't, you know, it's not necessarily young, you know, kind of tweens or, you know, early 20-year-olds that are watching a lot of my programming. And I'm okay with that. It's tough to stay in that relevant bubble and with that kind of, you know, 14 to 20, you know, 28 window or whatever. That's a lot of work. I don't have time for that.
It is a lot of work. And I mean, are you getting a lot of sleepless nights now? Because you said you have 4 daughters. I know one of them is newly born. Like you said you were in the basement before you started because your daughter's sleeping. And I mean, are you just trying to find sleep these days?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's not too bad. She sleeps through the night pretty well. Like it's good. Like she'll go down for a solid 11 hours at night. Thank God. We have this like crazy, like sleep like crib for the baby. It's called the snoo, and it like can tell if the baby's stirring, and it like rocks, and it's like it's very sophisticated, and she sleeps all through the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you mentioned earlier, you know, Kelly's pregnant. Obviously, you know, there's an uncle that doesn't, you know, a parent, you have to be responsible, Jack. Now you get, I mean, are you just going to spoil Kelly's son or daughter?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's the great thing is like I get to, you know, it's just gonna, you know, it's great. It's gonna be fun having, you know, her kid grow up with my kids, and you know, we've got babies that are, you know, a few months apart. That's gonna be fun. You know, they're gonna be more like siblings than cousins, really.
What about how are How are Sharon and Ozzy as grandparents? I imagine that they spoil your current
they
children.
spoil them rotten. I mean, it's to the point where I'm literally like, stop, please stop with, every time you show up, it's like, oh, I bought you this, here's that. And I'm like, just stop. I was like, it's too much, which is, it's very blessed, but I just don't, they love them, and it's, my dad is really funny. He goes through like phases of like really connecting with. He's kind of connected with each of my kids individually in different phases, and yeah, it's good.
And I read some article, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, it's an interview your father did that said he was going to get Kelly's son or daughter a microphone. That was going to be the first gift. Like, do any of your daughters, are they exhibiting any musical abilities?
Musical abilities, Pearl was playing piano for a while. And that's my eldest. She's really into like nature and outdoors, and she's kind of a bit of a hippie. She's now a pescatarian because she likes cows too much, so she won't eat meat. Yeah, she's not really fired up on music. Like, I'll try and play her stuff, and she's like, nah. And then Andy, my 7-year-old, she's like a phenomenal gymnast and just got like accepted into this crazy gymnastics program, and which is kind of crazy. I don't know if I'm necessarily prepared for that. And then Minnie, she's just a cute little kid who likes playing with toys. So no music.
No music.
I don't know if I'd want them to be musicians. I grew up with one. They're kind of crazy.
And it's a hard life, right? I mean, if you don't look at, I mean, how many people are the Ozzy Osbournes of the world? It's a really hard business, right?
It is. It's really, really hard. And I would much rather them get into, other performing arts aside from just music. Just because I think that there is it's difficult. You can be, the interesting thing I kind of look at, like, if you're an actor, you can be an actor and you can constantly, go out for different roles, and you can have a crazy, an amazing career that lasts a lifetime. With music, it's such a slog to stay relevant and grow with an ever-changing sound. It's crazy. Like, there are, like you just said, there are only a handful of people that have had, a career longer than 20 years.
Yes. Yes. And yes. Cause I mean, like, I think, like you said, like, audiences change, like your audience has grown with you. I think that's how it is. Like, whatever decade you're from, like 70s, 80s, 90s, you grow with the artists, to me, that you loved growing up. Yeah. And then those people put out new music and it doesn't do what it should just because it's not the current. And yet you're like, this current new music is so brilliant. Like,